3 years ago, Jason Liversidge was diagnosed with motor neurone disease. In that time, it's caused his muscles to waste and to weaken.
Lily, what would you like? Broccoli? Are you having broccoli for breakfast? Some mornings can be quite chaotic, and because Jason obviously needs help with everything, unfortunately he has to wait till last because I've got to get up and get the girls ready and make sure they're ready for school. It's better when the carer's here.
I try my hardest not to be rough with him, though I have been known to drag him around a bit.
Being cared for is something Jason's had to get used to, but this is a progressive disease. Each week can bring a new difficulty.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the whole thing is frustrating, but probably one of the hardest things is getting people to help.
I think sometimes Jason would rather struggle than ask anybody to help him, because for him it's obviously about his pride and his dignity, and you know, sometimes I know he's struggling, but I won't attempt to help him until he asks me, because he doesn't always want me to help him. Very early on it was Jason couldn't use his hands, so he would find things like doing buttons incredibly difficult. He then lost the ability to write. He then lost the ability to dress himself, and then he started tripping and falling. He couldn't pick his feet up, then he was not able to walk unaided, and it's that constant progression, you know. He's not even able to pick the girls up and give them a cuddle.
For the most of it, I concentrate on what I can do. It's made me a lot more of a positive person.
And here is my ice bucket challenge.
There are some things Jason has had to accept he may never do again, and the disease means he will eventually be unable even to speak.
I did actually want to call my sister last night, but I didn't bother because it would have been really hard to understand me. So one of the worst things is my brain knows exactly what I want to say, and I got to say it, and because the muscles don't work as well as they used to, the word just, I'm like, if you like, stuttering.
There are no greater heights to aspire to than the stars.
Professor Stephen Hawking is perhaps the most famous sufferer of motor neurone disease. He uses a computer to speak for him.
If we are to survive as a species, we must ultimately spread to the stars.
And I think you'll all agree with me that Maya looks absolutely fantastic.
This is Jason giving a speech at his sister's wedding.
For those of you who aren't familiar, our father passed away quite some time ago.
Jason will also have a computerised voice, but he wants it to sound like him.
As it's been left to me to give Maya away, I'd like to say it's my greatest honour to do that.
Part of that is to keep a form of identity. You know, I just don't want to be a program voice on a computer. And but also for the kids in this to hear my voice as rather as a computer one.
So when you talk out of the computer, it will still sound like Daddy?
Yeah.
There's a research clinic in Edinburgh that can help. The Anne Rowling Clinic was set up by Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling after her mother had multiple sclerosis. It specialises in degenerative diseases. It has a project trying to create personal synthetic voices.
Your voice is as identifiable to other people as your face is. You know, it's very unique to you. So being able to preserve that, I think, is really important for people.
Most of Dr. Revai's work has been done in Scotland. Jason's will be one of the first English voices they've recreated, and certainly the first Yorkshire voice. There are already other personalised systems, but they need to record the patient's voice while it's still perfect. This University of Edinburgh project is different.
When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow.
Previously, methods have needed to take maybe 8 to 10 hours worth of speech, which is an awful lot for anybody, let alone if you have a condition where you tire quite easily or speech is starting to become a problem. But what we can do is build voices using as little as about 20 minutes worth of speech.
And they aim to repair the flaws in a patient's voice using donors.
When Jason came to record his voice, it was still very clear. You could still understand everything he was saying. You could hear it was starting to become a little bit more effortful, perhaps a little bit slurred sounding. So it may not sound exactly how he used to sound. And that's where we would use more of those donor voices to perhaps rejuvenate it, make it sound maybe more like how it used to sound.
Thank you very much for coming to Mark and Maya's wedding, and I think you're all...
She'll use Jason's wedding speech as a benchmark and try to create a voice close to this. She needs 20 to 30 donors, preferably from Scarborough, where Jason grew up. And one of the first volunteers is his best friend, Phil.
Jason and I went to school together from being 4 or 5 years old. From being so active, skiing, driving, to go from that lifestyle to this one, I just can't imagine it.
So how does he feel about donating his voice?
We're from the same area, we've got a similar accent. So yeah, it was, of course I'm going to do it. He's one of my oldest friends.
Is there anything in your head sort of strange about the idea of your voice getting blended with Jason's?
I think because it's blended, it's less of a problem. I think if it was my voice and I was to ring him and speak to me on the other end of the phone, then maybe that would be a little bit strange.
So when that writing turns red, if you can read it out for me, and that's us going. Are you ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
Please call Stella. Ask her to bring these things with her from the store. 6 spoons of fresh snow peas, 5 thick slabs of blue cheese, and maybe a snack for her brother Bob.
The sentences do seem a bit strange, but they've been specially selected so that we can capture all those speech sounds that we need when we create the synthetic voice. So rather trying to record every single word in the dictionary, we capture all those sounds so that we can use them in any other word in which they occur. Right, that's you reached 400. Well done.
Okay,
that's
thank
you
you.
Finished.
Right, you're gonna get in the van.
Getting all the donors will take months.
Right, now you two get on and go in.
In the meantime, Jason and Liz work hard to keep a normal family life going. Jason's still able to drive an adapted vehicle, and it means a lot to him to do normal dad things, like take Lily and Poppy out.
Now Liz started school, I had to take her. I take him to school every morning. So I can do that on my own ability, because she can get out of the van and I'll take her in and you know, we're fine.
It's really important for us that we try and get out and about with the girls and, you know, make as many memories as possible. We're trying to compile lots of video and photographs of Jason and the girls together, so later on when Jason's no longer here, the girls will have something to look back upon and something to remember him by.
It's been more than a year since Jason recorded his voice. 21 men from Yorkshire have become donors and read out the 400 phrases needed. Now Jason's back in Edinburgh to hear his blended and synthesised voice for the first time. But will it sound like him?
So I'll let you test it out then.
Using eye movements, Jason selects letters on his computer to type out what he wants to say. It can be slow, but predictive text helps.
This is the first time I have heard my new voice. That's pretty good.
That's actually not bad.
That is, yeah.
It's not bad actually.
Well, it is recognisable. Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah? I would definitely recognise it as Jason.
Try it without the E.
Today is my birthday and we are staying at Edinburgh tonight with no kids woohoo.
You can't say woohoo then.
No, doesn't do the same excitement, I don't think.
No.
It may not be able to perfectly express emotion, but this melting pot of his own and all the donor voices has given Jason what he wanted.
This is the first time I have heard my new voice. That's done really good. And, I know it's me.